When we were younger, Jeremy would work at this like local video like rental place, and I remember very specifically there were certain times when it was just dead. I like me and friends that we all knew would walk in, and he's clearly watching like Cinemax style like rated R like movies where it's like, how am I ever gonna get out of this desert town? And it's like, well, if you take off all your clothes, and then the music played, and it was like, I love getting to the desert town. And she was like, well, no one's here, so no one cares.
So before Hollywood Video closed down, they started doing these like ad videos that were about half an hour long. So if you were there for an 8-hour shift, you'd have to watch this thing 16 times. But just before they gave you these DVDs to watch, they would let you kind of watch whatever you wanted. And during the day shifts, from like 9 to 5 or whatever, no one would ever come in. So you could put in whatever you wanted, and no one would really check. So me and a buddy of mine would always go to the horror section or whatever and kind of find like the most adult things, that you could find when we were, 18 at the time. And I think the funniest thing that we had at a family-owned, like a family kind of centric store of Hollywood Video was Teenage Cat Girls and Heat. Was the title of this horrible horror film.
Well, you and Jeremy were like the pioneers of Rabbit Troop Sucks, where you were showing movies that were so obscure, overlooked, or forgotten about that you're like, hey, that's where we're at. Yeah. And everybody, welcome back to Rabbit Troop Sucks.
Oh no.
So, welcome to part 2, the conclusion of School or Die. And we're back at you with another 1998 film with a very similar premise from last week. We were back
the exact same premise, Paul. The exact same premise.
Yeah. Dead Man's Curve, also known as The Curve. 1998, again. 2 college students kill their roommate and make it look like a suicide. So a little darker, but yeah, we're back. But before we jump right into this film, again, just to let all of you know, this upcoming Saturday, September 23rd, we will be part of the Aurora Minicon. So comics, cosplay, gaming, and more. Aurora Public Library is thrilled to return the annual Minicon in person for the first time since 2019. Aurora Minicon is a free festival featuring comics, cosplay, and all the things pop culture, and it will be bigger than ever before. This free, family-friendly event includes superheroes, comic-themed crafts and activities, panel discussions, which Mike and I are a part of, exhibits, gaming, and cosplay costume contests, etc. There's going to be 50 vendors, multiple food trucks, etc. We're going to be at the Aurora History Museum. Everything with the panels start at 11, and Mike and I are at 11:30. There's so many cool panels we've been looking through. So it starts off with the birthday of Nintendo. Mike and I will be covering a bit about Indiana Jones with Indiana Jones Throughout Time. Our friend Keith, who put this together, is on a couple panels. Aurora's Sci-Fi Land. He's also wrapping up the day with Houdini, Doyle, and Alexander Martin. There's a lot of interesting things such as Superman, immigration, and citizenship, Star Wars in your backyard, colorful comics using comics to teach history with pop culture, the museum with an X-Wing, Aurora Sci-Fi Land with Keith, as noted before. So coming down and see us. Everything is free. I'm kind of excited. So, yeah.
Paul's going to be cosplaying as a Squirtle.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
I'm done with Squirtle.
Yeah, I'm going to be dressed as Sailor Uranus.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Mike's taking a different approach.
Yeah, well.
Yeah.
I like Squirtle. Squirtle's blue, my favorite color.
Oh, no, not the Pokemon.
Oh, what does that mean?
It's a sex thing.
Oh. No. Should people Google this?
No.
Should people Google this in conjunction to this podcast?
If you're into Squirtles, Google Squirters.
Rabbit Troop Sucks Squirtle. That's going to get you the results.
Well,
Okay.
There's a lot going on. There's a lot of T-shirt ideas. So, Dead Man's Curve. I had never seen of this. I've never seen this film. No one in anyone talking today has seen this film. The only person not here today to join us again is Lamar, who joined us for the last time. Again, sorry, I was just thinking about this. I guess I should introduce us. So, as always, we're Rabbit Troop Sucks. We're a podcast about the obscure, forgotten about, and often overlooked films. As always, I am Paul. Next to me is Mike.
Hello.
Next to Mike is Jeremy.
Yo.
Lamar is not here to join us for this part 2, and next to Jeremy is Collin.
Yo.
Yeah. So just a quick look behind the curtain. Sometimes we record 2 episodes in a night. This is the second episode tonight, so
You get to see a new flavor of Mike.
yeah, things are going to get a little punchy tonight.
Some of us
Yeah.
were getting C's in our college classes, so we had to off Lamar.
Yeah.
We've all got 4.0s.
Yeah. How do you grade your podcast? And do you have a learning curve, or do you have an academic curve that's given to you just based off of nothingness? Mike is going to tell you how much he loves this film. If you listen to our last episode of School or Die, Mike was highlighting he loves this. Mike, would you be surprised that this director, Dan Rosen, has done this in essentially one other film called Freeloaders?
Was it Birth of a Nation? Because this movie sucks.
Mike loves it. You know what the love in this room is? Matthew Lillard. This is our third Matthew Lillard film. We've done Wing Commander. We've done Without a Paddle. And this is number 3, Dead Man's Curve.
Wing Commander is Citizen Kane compared to this movie.
You know,
I was going to ask you, like, did you like Wing Commander better?
I do now, yeah.
Yeah. Well, as you know, Matthew Lillard has wrote three-peats. He's been in a lot of films. Michael Vartan. Maybe I wrote this wrong.
That's right.
Yeah.
Which one is that?
Chris.
He's Chris.
Yeah.
There are two main people in this film, and he is the second one. He is the lead of this film.
So he's
Chris.
the one that looks like the 90210 guy?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm going to assume yes on this. He's been in movies, but kind of in the background. And then we got a bunch of people that I don't really know. Randall Batinkoff plays Rand. Keri Russell, who...
Yeah, we know her.
Yeah, I actually like Keri Russell all throughout this film. She plays Emma. And then there's a few other people that will know. But that's kind of the core 4, I would say, throughout the film, with a couple people in and out of this group. And yeah, so we're back to suicides or making someone suicidal to get straight A's. So as a trigger warning, and as something we noted from last time, just keep this in mind. The last movie was a dark comedy. This movie is just more dark. It's more of a mystery. It's more dark. There are maybe a couple comedic elements, but it's definitely
and they're the weirdest comedic elements
out
you
of
can
left
possibly
fucking
find.
field.
And let me just say, this movie is going to take place at fucking Harvard. All right, Harvard.
No.
And at no point,
they're all trying
to
to
get into Harvard.
oh, they're trying to get into Harvard.
This is some
Oh, fuck.
lighthouse school.
Yeah, this
where
movie takes place by a lighthouse
yeah,
for some reason.
Five people go for a picnic lunch by a lighthouse.
Yeah. So I mentioned this earlier. So this film is technically a thriller, but it is about 5 lines away from being a prime comedy.
Well,
Yes,
this
Collin.
movie also...
Yes.
This movie kind of plays like a stage performance. Because it takes place in 3 places.
Yes,
the
you are
fucking
right.
lighthouse, that goddamn cigar shop that they're always at for some reason.
Yes, like that. Well, I totally agree, Mike. The cigar shop is like a cigar, coffee shop, bookstore. Maybe you can get some yarn. Like, I'm very confused about what kind of shop this is.
I am as well. And the dorm room. And like the way the scenes change, it's like something will happen and then the lights will go out and you can hear the stagehands like pushing furniture around. And then the lights go on and the same people are in a different place. The filming of this movie is fucking bonkers.
You know what?
It was like a college film school movie, like something that they have,
Similar to so if you were to relate this to Colorado specifically, this takes place in School of Mines. And,
Sure,
and
totally.
the little shops they go to are in Golden.
Is there a
Holy cow,
humidor,
Collin.
yarn?
Did you read that on
bookstore in Golden?
IMDb?
They've got like dinky little shops in
No,
Golden.
I totally agree with Collin. Like
Okay.
that would be the situation here.
That's fair, yeah.
I also want to give a little piece of trivia relating this back to the last movie from last week, Dead Man on Campus. Both these movies, again, came out in 1998. Both of these movies were released in August. Like, how crazy is
That's
that?
bananas. I have another piece of trivia for you.
Is it you love these films?
Do you know what the Rotten Tomato score of this movie is?
38.
It's 0.
Oh no.
This movie has a Rotten Tomato score of 0, and that is generous.
As well it should.
Yeah.
I would be disappointed if it had anything more than that.
Yeah.
No one who goes to Rotten Tomatoes could say anything nice.
No. This movie is unwatchable.
Well, okay. So this
Yeah, okay.
movie actually
Let's-
starts off
yeah, let's take a
with a
look.
narration. So there is an overdub of a comedian talking about, hey, you know, I could kill someone and get a 4.0, and that's the crazy state of school today.
What comedian is this?
I have no idea.
Guys, would you believe?
It's Jerry Seinfeld.
It is, yeah. What's going on with these campuses?
So we see a little bit of campus life and like stereotypical pictures about people going to campus and whatever. I don't really remember the beginning all too much. I do remember the narration of the comedian.
Well, I mean, that comes back later.
Yes, that's why I remember the narration.
The comedian is narrating the plot of the movie.
Yeah, which is kind of bizarre.
So just prior to that, the opening scene is in a bathroom where Chris or whatever goes down and sees that he gets a B+ on some midterm or whatever.
Yeah.
And then it doesn't make any sense really.
Yeah, he lies to Matthew Lillard, who's in like the shitter.
Yeah, Matthew
Lillard comes out and like he's like, "Oh yeah, well I checked your grades and you got a B+. You didn't get an A." So, and again, it's confusing as to why this scene is even in existence.
It's the first 5 minutes of this movie are very confusing.
So
also the credits never stop. The opening credits of this movie are 20 minutes long.
I do agree. There are a couple of moments, and I know Mike's going to make fun of this, but there are a couple of moments like the credits that totally drag on. I definitely am open with this, and I clearly am going to defend part of why I like this movie, but
and then we'll talk about why Paul's wrong.
But as we're going through, like that was automatically wrong on this. As we're going through all of this, we hear the narration of what's happening, and to compare it to the last film, I do like there's like this semblance of reality. Where doesn't he have like a B+ or something on the grade? So it's not people are failing. It's so cutthroat that they're trying to get into Harvard that if they're not actually getting A's, that this is that they'll never get into Harvard Law, and everyone wants to get into Harvard other areas as well.
Right.
The biggest problem with this scene is you don't know any characters' names.
Yeah, totally.
So
you don't know who they are.
His finger is on an A.
Right.
So I didn't realize that he didn't actually get an A until much, much later when I was like, oh, wait a minute. And I went back and looked. But if you were just watching this movie in a theater or something, you would assume that this guy fucking got an A.
Yeah, I don't
Correct,
disagree.
Yeah.
This is kind of weird. But I do like the realism. Again, comparison to Dead Man on Campus, way more of a darker comedy, zany, MTV. That this is more, again, cutthroat, like top tier, like I need all A's, B+ don't count, stuff like this. So like that's why when Jeremy said last week, when he was like, this would never happen, like no one would get straight A's, I noted that I could see leniency at a school where, again, it wasn't guaranteed a 4.0. That, like, if you did have a roommate and you did go through this, and again, this is late 90s, this is a little different, that maybe that you just wouldn't take your finals. Like, that, again, was, like, the agreement. Like I could see that actively happening, that your teachers all agreed, you've learned enough, but you don't have to turn in that final paper or something. But it wasn't just... like Dead Man on Campus. Oh, you have an F. You've never attended class, but now, and we're aware of that. Like we've told you, you are failing. We're about to kick you out. We have your attendance records. You're a human student, crappy person, but now you have A's. But this movie is more. We need an advantage, which is the narration of the comedian to begin with. We need all A's to get into Harvard, which this core group of people is going to Harvard.
Everyone wants to go there. Well, it's established not kind of towards the end of the movie that every single one of these students, with the exception of whatever Pretty Boy, I don't know what his name is.
Rand?
No, not
Chris,
Rand.
the lead.
Is he the one who can't get a boner?
Chris, yeah.
Okay, yeah. He's just called Limp Dick in my notes.
Wow.
Everyone is like
wow.
is from a millionaire family.
Yo, that is totally true.
Yeah.
I mean, it is based on what we're seeing here that it is a very small school. It is very, very well to do. You basically just hang out at a lighthouse and talk about school stuff and buy yarn and books and cigars.
Yeah, like all these are privileged kids except for Limp Dick, who's there on a scholarship.
Yes.
And the privilege comes into play. The privilege, like the rich kids and their privilege comes into play in comparison with the other guy, Chris. But this movie is so goddamn confusing. I could not figure out why that was. And I think it might have been explained, but it wasn't explained very well.
No, nothing was explained well.
They kind of explained it about 3 different times.
Yeah, okay.
And overall, it kind of came together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we should go through because Jeremy, like that is an astute observation that there are moments where I felt very lost, but I do feel by the end of this, I know exactly what happened, what's going on, and they did connect it at the end. But there are moments that lead to that. Yeah.
Okay.
Also, everybody in this movie is just a giant piece of shit.
Everyone sucks. Like you cannot relate to
except for
anybody.
one character that I really enjoyed.
We'll get
But
there.
yeah,
I know
we'll get to
Jeremy.
that.
I know who that is.
He was the worst one.
I
know where you're going.
Jeremy and I were texting each other, and I said I don't disagree. Everyone's kind of a jerk, but there's something I like about like not liking anyone. Like it's, do I understand your motives? And not that I agree with them. You're still all human garbage, but it's kind of a fun way to go into it. Mm-hmm. We also jump into this lunchroom scene. Like it's like the 1D part in the setting. They're here a couple times, I guess, but it's like a loose lunchroom.
Is this where they're playing that dumb trivia game?
Yeah, that's super weird.
Well,
like that comes and goes throughout the film. Like a new trend that everyone's playing this trivia game amongst one another, and it's like how to guess something. But I mean, it's kind of the setup. Like you're supposed to be guessing what's going on all throughout. But I just do want to note that in this lunchroom scene, you are introduced to everyone. It's like every person in the movie who's like a core member. You get Rand, you get his girlfriend Natalie, you get Emma, who's the friend. She's dating Chris, who's the lead, and you get Tim, who's Matthew Lillard. I want to say a huge shout out to Keri Russell. I don't know much about Keri Russell. I've seen her like in things. Like maybe I've seen an episode of Felicity. I know she was in an episode of Boy Meets World Forever. She was in the new Star Wars movie. These are all like bit parts. But my wife and I recently watched Waitress after all these years. And I was like, oh my God, she is awesome in this movie. And I just really know nothing about her. But have any of you seen the movie Waitress?
I've not. And you also listed a bunch of things that I don't like. But the show The Americans is fucking dope.
Is she in that?
Yeah, she's like the main character.
Is she good in it?
Yeah, she's amazing.
Yeah, I was like, wow. When I saw the movie Waitress, just for years, like I know that it's had a lot of notoriety, and people were like, she's really great. I just really, for whatever reason, had not seen it, and I was like, oh my God, like she's really good in this. So.
I'll check that. I do like Keri Russell.
Well, I just feel like
not
maybe
in this movie.
Well, I just feel
is she Emma or is she?
She's
Natalie?
Emma. She's Emma.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I just feel she is maybe like for me personally, like an overlooked person that you're watching the show. I just haven't seen, but clearly she's been in other films. I was like, wow, like she is just really good in this.
Nice.
I thought, even if Mike does not like this film, I thought clearly the strongest actor is her throughout this entire film. She is more of she is the most believable person, at least selling me on certain things throughout this film in comparison to anyone. I thought she was the strongest actor.
I won't disagree with you on that.
Okay.
I will. Okay. I thought the best actors, we haven't gotten to them yet, the dean and the 2 police officers.
the dean's a fucking douchebag. I think Natalie's the best.
The dean's my favorite. Him and that fucking pipe.
Yeah.
And Twizzler,
Holmes
for the
pipe.
psychologist.
I like Twizzler, yeah.
Dr. Ashley, yeah.
Yeah, with the Lamar
and
psychological process with the Twizzler.
There was a scene before this lunchroom scene where somebody's talking to the counselor, and they're asking like, what are some signs that people might be suicidal?
Yeah.
And she lists off things that are just part of everybody's lives. Like, do you like Scandinavian films or independent films or 80s
the music?
You're gonna kill yourself.
Do you listen to The Cure and
The
Joy
Smiths.
Division? I was like, oh my God, my college life.
Check, and check.
Yeah.
Do you like music that's fun?
Yeah,
Yes.
she basically listed off like by high school experience. Yeah. Like, oh, cool. That's
Oh, we got to keep an eye on Mike
Live
now.
in the 80s?
Yeah.
Probably suicidal.
also like what. So you go to your psychiatrist and you're like, what are some things I can look out for if I'm trying to make a guy kill himself? She's like, well, here's a fucking punch list.
And evidently it never comes up again. She doesn't remember she spoke to anyone about this.
She's a fucking moron.
No, well, sort of. So I have questions about her and her role in this all throughout. And also remember that, so part of this is that guy came in as like kind of a double cross in all of this. That this is Chris talking to the psychologist. And Chris is saying, oh, I have this friend, and this friend's suicidal. What should I look out for? Once you listen, so regardless of what Mike's views are, or any negativity, no, just hear me out. Because Mike will agree with this. After we say throughout this film, we're going to spoil the hell out of it. Like,
yeah. Oh, really, yeah, spoilers abound.
Really, like, in any mystery, like, it's really, like, what's going on? We're going to clearly say that, and then there's, like, really no reason to fully go back for a lot of reasons. So, he is saying, my friend is saying, like, is suicidal, my friend, and he is purposefully, which is part of the spoiler, trying to be like, oh, it's really about me. He's trying to sell it as it's really me, but he is purposefully doing this to the psychologist.
Yeah.
So she's like, oh, it's really him. And in the end, at the movie, she apologizes to him. And she says, I really thought it was about you. And he's like, yeah, I kind of tried to tell you I had this friend. And so he kind of does this excellent job in duping her, like, from the beginning, which I clearly did not get until the last moments of the movie. But it's one of the reasons I kind of liked it, where I was like, I then was thinking about this movie. I was like, wow, some of these people actually had an interesting long end game plan that came to be.
Yeah.
Which Mike loves.
I don't think I got that until right now.
Yeah. Oh, Collin, for me, was like literally the last moments. And I was like, oh, shit. Like, this guy was like acting thoroughly all throughout this film. Which he then says he wants to go to... Oh, no, Rand says he wants to go to drama club or something.
Yeah.
They're all going to drama club.
Fucking... Also, Rand...
I like the name Rand because there's a dude in Robotech, but that's also 1984 Japanese animation. So I'm like, that's where that name lives and should stay. So then when I hear it, Mike, I'm like, who named you? Rand-Aid. I need to put a Rand-Aid on my wound.
This is like purely tangential, but there's an Instagram account called Middle Class Fancy. I don't know if any of you are familiar with this.
I'm sorry, what?
It's Middle Class Fancy, and it's kind of
There's
like
an Instagram account called this?
Correct.
Okay.
And it's like the main characters are this middle-aged couple, Rand and Nance, and it's about their adventures, like getting blasted on mudslides at Applebee's and like going to Chili's to pound beers. Sure. And I cannot detach the name Rand from a middle-aged man.
What about Randy from South Park?
That's Randy, not Rand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about Randy from Trailer Park Boys?
Oh, that's true. Oh, yeah, Jeremy. I mean, if you wanted to go to Casa Bonita, I think it's like impossible. I mean,
I've had my name on the list for
I mean, if you like seriously, if you want to put your name on a list, I mean,
I'm fine. Like, if I don't need to go to like South Park restaurant.
If I get the call, we'll go. But yeah, I've had 5 different email addresses.
So I've only been to the old Casa Bonita, and I'm trying to think who else was with me for this. Lamar was there.
Didn't you all get food poisoning?
What? No.
Oh, didn't everyone who wasn't a vegetarian get food poisoning? Okay.
Lamar was there, and Lucor was. I'm trying to think of anyone who's been on the show. Lucor was there. Mm-hmm. And it was our friend Emily's birthday, and everyone ordered food, and the only people not to get food poisoning, as Mike noted, were my friend Lucor, who's been on the show, and myself. And for me, I ate none of the food. So when you would walk in, they forced you, like, you cannot go past the gate until you order a full entree, which will then be served to you at your table. So you pay money right then and there for that entree. So we had to forcefully order, and I was like, I'm vegetarian. So they're like, we'll do beans and cheese. And Lucor said I'm vegan, and that confused everyone. And his food came out last. His food, I am not shitting you, was a handful of tortilla chips with shredded lettuce and 2 pieces of tomato. Like that. So that came out as the vegan menu. Mine, somewhere in a camera roll, like when I had a digital camera, I have this saved. Mine, the cheese was so awful looking. It looked like they melted Crayola crayons. And I was like, I'm not eating this. Like, just straight up. I was like, I will eat food later. The only thing Lucor and I had, we split a fried sopapilla and each drank like a cup of margarita. And I would say cup because it wasn't even a full glass. And It cost us a bunch of money, and we had that. And in a party of 15 to 20, we were the only two not to get food poisoning that night.
Oh my God, man!
Like that night, like our birthday girl, our friend Emily, like it was within an hour. She's like, oh no, like, and she has a long, rich history, and she might actually be on one upcoming episode because she'll be here sometime in October. That she could tell you what she may have contracted from Casa Bonita, but yeah. But
Let's go, guys.
Jeremy and I and Mike and Collin and Lamar, we're gonna tear some shit up in Denver because I feel we're gonna see some fun things and just be recording and eating dope food and having fun drinks. So yeah, so that's gonna be some October upcoming fun.
Yeah.
Which leads us to this movie.
Yeah, we're
Part of the crux. We find out there might be someone pregnant, and it's Rand's girlfriend, Natalie.
Yeah, so they're playing.
Is she pregnant? Oh,
Yeah, well, she thinks she is.
Yeah, so guys, I gotta tell you, my cell, and I told Mike, like, so with Dead Man on Campus, I said, I'm surprised Mike didn't really like it, and I understand everyone has different opinions. So that was more of a surprise for me. This movie, I said pretty directly to Mike on the side. I knew I would probably be one, if any, defending this movie in areas. Some of how this mystery unfolds, this story, I think is really well written. And part of it...
could not disagree with you more.
And it was, Jeremy noted, just like, oh, is she pregnant? Like some of that, like how that unfolds at the end and like Keri Russell's part in all of this. I was like, oh,
yeah,
shit.
I'm excited for this podcast so that somebody can explain what the fuck, so whatever that means.
They're playing this lame ass trivia game, and Rand is being a total bitch ass to whatever his girlfriend's name is,
Natalie.
For no reason. Well, the reason is because Rand
Can you
sucks.
show a little fucking respect?
No, I will never. Like, everyone else is kind of having a good time, but it's like, the questions are dumb. It's like, who's the senator from, West Chuckle fucking Kentucky?
So this is basically like, so you draw a name from a hat, and you got to get the other person to guess who the fuck this person is.
Who was writing these goddamn names?
Well,
none of these kids are that smart.
Well, the backdrop is this. Well, none of the kids are that smart. I agree. But the backdrop is this. Natalie can't guess any of these things, and they're trying to show that she might not be as intelligent as Rand, and Rand is like above this shit, and he is then ruthless with her. He is so rude in your face.
Well, even like Keri Russell, who is this girl's best friend,
she stops it eventually.
Well, she still fucking sucks. Like, she is a dick to this girl.
Yeah.
Everyone in this movie sucks.
Yeah.
But so what's her name? Kelly.
Emma.
Rachel, Emma.
What the fuck?
Emma is Keri Russell.
The non-Keri Russell.
Natalie.
Natalie.
Okay.
Natalie's like,
or Nat or Natalie.
She's like, I want to go. I'm feeling sick, and Rand's like, that's because you're a piece of shit. I want to stay and do chode stuff. So like,
again, they really want to highlight that part of the backdrop is Rand is so loaded, so rich, so smart, or if not smart, dialed in. This dude's going to Harvard.
Yeah,
this
like,
dude's
none
well
of this
connected.
matters.
And this woman that he's dating, who's Natalie, she's disposable. That's what they're trying to highlight. That he's dating her. They're clearly having sex, but he does not give a shit about her. She's dumb. He's smart. I'm better. Like, that's the dynamic they clearly try to establish.
So she says she doesn't feel well, and she runs off crying. And eventually, Keri Russell's like, I know I didn't defend my friend because I'm an idiot, but I'm going to go see if she's okay.
Yeah.
And the next scene, and we're supposed to be incredulous to this, like, Keri Russell is in the bathroom fucking around with a pregnancy test. She's like, oh, hey, are you pregnant? I found this pregnancy test that's positive. She's like, I might be. And this kicks off the whole, like, this chick is pregnant storyline.
Yes.
Like, it was a twist. Like, of course it was a fucking twist. Someone that wasn't you found the test and told you were pregnant.
Well, sort
is
of.
Everyone in this movie fucking...
Well, sort of. I mean,
Jesus Christ.
Well, in theory, Natalie's belief is this. This girl's my best friend. She just saw the pregnancy test I took. Why would she lie to me? I've had suspicions that I might be pregnant. I just took this test.
Sure.
My friend, who I think is my best friend, just confirmed you are pregnant. and you might want to consider what your options are right now.
Yeah, my best friend who never stands up for me when everyone I know is being a dick to me.
All right, so to be fair, you've had about 4 seconds of interaction between these two, not the years worth.
No, I know, but like as a viewer, all you're introduced to is everyone is being a dick to Natalie, including Keri Russell. And then the next scene is Keri Russell telling this woman she's pregnant. And she's like, am I? Oh.
Well, I also want to note that, like, everyone, in theory, cowers to Rand. Rand is the alpha,
Yes.
like of everyone.
Yeah.
So when Keri Russell doesn't defend her, you understand also, like, maybe she would say this to Matthew Lillard's character.
I think you guys are reading way too far into this piece of shit movie.
I don't think so.
Oh
my God.
So it's basically because what she says is she's like, Rand is going to kill me. That's what she says when she realizes she's pregnant.
no, she does say that.
Right. People are afraid of this dude. Like, that's why I said this guy, we don't know how smart he is. Like, clearly, like, this dude's intelligent enough. I mean, he's just been in the school system long enough, like, whatever. But he's at least so well connected. Like, you don't mess with Rand. Like, Rand's family, like, God knows what. Like, this dude, like, might mess with you. Like, that's part of the mystery of this, which comes back at the end. Like, who actually is Rand and what kind of control does this dude have in the group dynamic?
Okay, it's been 30 minutes. We've talked about the first 4 minutes of this movie.
Yeah.
Officer Ernie's coming.
Yeah, okay, so now the pregnancy talk happens. This dumb bitch thinks she's pregnant. Now they're at this lighthouse that they keep going fucking
They love
back to
that.
for
They
some
do
reason.
love that white lighthouse.
They cannot get fucking caution. No one in the fucking movie has caution tape.
No one, yeah. And the
No,
only
you just go right up to that cliff.
These 4 people love the lighthouse. No one else in the world goes to this lighthouse.
Well, there's the hippies.
Well, yeah, the
that never show up
hippies.
again.
They're playing the same game that the other guys are playing in the lunchroom.
They're back playing this fucking trivia game.
They suck at it, by the way.
I do want
Everyone
to
sucks
know.
And that pisses Rand off too. He's like, these motherfucking idiots.
I want to note something. This is more of a directed comment to Jeremy. I know Jeremy doesn't like this film. I don't think I'm going to convert Jeremy, and I don't think I'm going to convert Mike clearly to liking this film. But, Jeremy, part of my surprise on you not liking part of this film, this is part of my observation, I don't think I'm going to convert you, is I do clearly feel this movie suffers from a budget loss, that even the film stock could be a little sharper. And all throughout this film, and honestly, one of the reasons I like this film, not my favorite, as I told Mike, not award-winning, I feel if this was a Miramax Dimension film and had that budget in the 90s, this movie would have been different. And I think as I'm watching it, it's this potential of this is a newer director. I mean, that was Kevin Smith on the same kind of track. This is a newer director. They only have a few settings. They have a small budget. But if we had better film stock and a little better editing, this movie could have just been bigger and better. And I do feel this movie's underrated and overlooked because of that.
Oh my God, I can't.
But I say this directly to Jeremy. And the reason I'm saying that to Jeremy is these are the movies that him and I watched kind of not at the late 90s, but at the like mid and like early 90s, those Dimension and Miramax films of the time. And I'm kind of surprised that Jeremy's like,
I don't think is the best example to use.
well, Miramax had not the assholes who ran it by any means.
So like a production company that raped people would have made a better movie.
No, I mean, you can't say that. I mean, that was like all of Kevin Smith's films. I mean, that like
we can't watch anymore.
Well, I mean, like a lot of these directors were like, didn't know these things were happening, or like I think Kevin Smith said with Clerks, everything going forward just now goes to a fund. Like any profit that comes from.
And I'm being a piece of shit, but that is unfortunate. And like we can't like watch Dogma because it's not released anywhere.
Right. Well, that's what I'm saying. Like just these movies have this like ilk of like this kind of like psychological sensibility or these storylines. Jeremy watched a shit ton of them with me. I'm just surprised, like, he was like, oh, I didn't like it as much. Just because, again, Jeremy, I'm not saying this to convert you, just, we watched so many movies like this at that time, just, I see the merits of this movie.
Yeah. We did, and, like, I think this movie could have fit if it were something different, like, it didn't take place with another, like, urban legend of, if like my roommate. And by the way, I don't even know who's rooming with who in this movie, to be honest with you. Does Rand live with these
Yes.
other two guys?
That's pretty clear. It's pretty clear that it's Rand, Tim, and Chris all live in the same room.
Okay.
Yeah.
But like I said, the whole college 4.0 thing with one of your roommates dying just throws me off on this. But the movie was just really, really confusing in terms of how they got to the end and why it even took place.
So I agree. So the difference between
stupid.
this and the previous movie is, so they set up, previously that they were desperately needed the A's to pass, whereas in this film it wasn't necessarily as clear that they really needed someone to die for them to get the A's to pass.
But the whole thing is, it's like it's one semester though they get A's on. Did they have A's all the way up till like this is the last semester? We've had A's up until now.
Yeah.
And shit, I got a B plus. Now I gotta fucking kill somebody.
He got a fucking B plus. It's not like he was failing.
Yeah, that's again why I like a little more of the reality slant with this. It was like, oh, I'm good, and they're like, good's not good enough. Like, you better be like razor sharp perfect, or you're never going to the degree you want in Harvard.
Yeah.
Also, wait, so a really quick side note. This movie slightly reminds me of Danny Boyle, who directed.
Oh my god! How are you?
Train. Who directed Train Spotting? One of his earlier films is called Shallow Grave. Mm-hmm. Has anyone seen this movie?
Yes.
No.
It is Ewan McGregor.
Ewan McGregor, yeah, okay.
And they're like they kill someone and they're kind of covering it up, and there's only like 4 different locations, and it's all minimal dialogue. And I do feel like I would love to go back to Shallow Grave for this podcast, because I feel it's minimal setting, minimal budget. Is Shallow Grave a better film? Yeah, absolutely. But there are overlapping similarities. And my defense of this movie is this is a director who had a low budget, access to somewhat notable people. Clearly, I would imagine Matthew Lillard is the most popular at this moment. In 98, that is, and you're casting at 97. Keri Russell, very up and coming at this time, had been in Felicity, various other things. Sure. So you have some notable people, but you just don't really have a lot else. And I'm like, damn, if this is this director's first movie and this is 1998, I am kind of on board where this director could have gone going forward.
Yeah.
No.
I agree.
That's like saying Battle Beyond the Stars was so close to Star Wars that it could have been good.
I still haven't seen that movie.
Jesus Christ, everyone. This movie is atrocious, and I cannot believe you guys are defending this.
Mike, that's not me. I don't like it.
Not you, no, Jeremy. You're on my side on this. These two fucking apologists over here oh no, this fucking piece of shit director could have done good things. This movie is the worst movie I've ever seen.
Let's push forward, shall we?
Yeah, no, let's move forward. Okay, so where the fuck are we at? Oh, no, we're at the lighthouse, and this...
No, we're not even close to that.
No, we're at the lighthouse. They're doing trivia, and this dumb fuck security guard rolls up.
No,
and what's his name?
I wanted to push even farther forward.
Yeah, well, no.
Even Mike disagrees on this, Jeremy, so I guess you're more alone than Mike, but you love Ernie the security guard. You felt this. Well, I just wanted
security guard that just rolls up with fucking nunchucks strapped to their belt is okay.
You like this guy, man. And Mike's like, no, he's the worst. So even Mike's like, this is even the worst part for me.
He escalated the whole thing for me. Oh my god. Okay, okay. Talk about fucking Ernie the security guard.
Yeah, I mean, he comes up. The kids are playing a trivia game. Ernie is perturbed by this. He's like, why are you guys out here by this lighthouse? Oh, let's get out of here. And he goes into full, redneck security guard mode. Basically, he says, I'm a private citizen. I have to read this piece of paper from you, probably because I did some stupid shit when I was a real person and got demoted to the security guard. So now I got to read this. But basically, it says that I can't do anything, but hey, I'm a cop. All right, so you got to listen to me.
Yeah, he goes on this whole diatribe about how he has no power. He's like, but basically it means I'm a cop. That I have nunchucks.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty much it. And then it's a hard cut back to that weird setting of coffee house, yarn shop, cigar shop. Like very, very confusing about what this is.
Yeah. So the pregnant girl is talking to Lily. That Lily's Matthew Lillard.
Yeah, Tim.
Yeah.
I'm never going to say that. They're talking in the cafe about. Are they talking about how she's pregnant? I don't even know.
Exactly.
Yeah. Matthew's trying to convince Natalie to tell Rand that she's pregnant.
Yeah.
See, this is already a scene, guys, that I have to admit I like. Matthew Lillard's like, you should absolutely tell Rand, and this is a huge misdirection of who this character actually is. That you find out through this film that he is a liar in one way. But it totally turns that he's lying about so many different things. But you only learn this at the end. And he's like, you need to tell Rand. He's a family guy. And Natalie's like, oh my God, I never knew that. Like, I am so freaked out. He's like, oh, like, this is going to go differently than you actually expect. That as one of his best friends, I am telling you that this is actually a blessing in disguise. And she's like, oh my God, but what about, like, I think, did Rand initially want to go to Harvard Law? Someone does.
Everyone wants to go to Harvard.
Every time I hear Harvard, it's just Harvard Law. So, like,
also, like, millionaires struggling to get into Harvard. Oh no. Like,
yeah.
Well, but that's also part of the mystery. Like
if this was me, like, maybe I'm killing someone to go to Harvard. Like, Rand's parents own half the town, according to someone. That is
why I like this story.
Just buy the way in, guys.
Well, the
problem with it is you have to really pay attention to this movie to pick up on some of these things that leads to the conclusion at the end. But they don't make this movie compelling enough. They make the characters so you don't like them, and like you don't pay enough attention to this movie because you're like,
very good way of putting it.
I mean, that's definitely part of the challenge is that they made Rand such kind of a douchebag that you're not really in his corner.
You're not focusing on like certain things, and I think like if I went back and rewatched it, I might pick up on more. But I don't want to go back and rewatch.
Well, Jeremy, I think our Venn diagram of agreeing to disagree that comes in the middle is I agree with Mike. Like the way you just phrased that is pretty spot on, which in one way makes Mike hate this film and then makes Collin and I like it. So like that right there is so polarizing that that's why I said, like, going into this, I think I'm going to be, like, alone or, yes, Collin's on my side, that this movie's interesting enough, and there is a payoff for me at the end that, do I think this is a slow burn? Do I think this is a low-budget film? I totally think yes. Do I think there is amateurish, this is my first directorial debut of a film problem? Yes. But there is, for me, a lot of potential. And I did pay attention to this film, and so when it comes together at the end, I'm like, there is kind of some like awesome moments, but you definitely noted you've got to pay attention all throughout. But yes, I agree, Mike. If you are not compelled to like or watch these characters, you are not gonna like it. But I don't want to say I was always compelled enough that I like them. I was interested enough that I need to see this follow out. So I totally like understand. Like that was a really good, again, good phrasing that why this movie is going to be polarizing every which way. But again, not award winning, but I see the merits of this film.
Yeah. So Natalie, she thinks she's pregnant and she meets up with Tim, who's as far as she's concerned, Rand's best friend, to kind of discuss the consequences of this. Like, what should I do? And Tim is like, absolutely, you have to tell him. As a family guy, he will abandon his, whatever aspirations he has for higher education to take care of you and the baby. Like, that's what he really wants deep down. She buys it immediately. There's a goofy scene where she offers him like a kiss or something. He leans in and turns in, gets a peck on the lips as soon as Rand shows up, which causes a little bit of a stir.
Oh yeah, Rand pops in right away.
Yeah. Right,
and then you kind of find out, was that coincidental? I do have to say one thing, and I do feel clearly, anytime someone dislikes or gushes over a film, I've always noted, I'm glad there's a difference in opinion. Yeah, Mike might come off as the more like strict one, and Jeremy too, and maybe Collin and I are more forgiving. But there's definitely some overlap. And again, if everyone liked or disliked all of these films, we'd have no discussion. It'd be like, remember we loved this and then this. But I do have to highlight, like, Jeremy and Mike don't really like this film too much. But we do have to say, like, the tragic character is clearly Natalie, right? Would you disagree with this? Like, this girl is screwed from all sides.
Of course
There's no
she is,
character better.
Yeah.
She is great.
Yeah, like, I do feel like we have to agree. She is a tragic character. She tries to do her best. And they do say something, too, like, Rand says some, like, off comment later, like, her family is, like, not as good, or, like, she's from a different part.
She's from Canada.
Oh, yeah.
Canadian.
Yeah, she's from Canada.
Yeah,
she's
like,
from Toronto. So
yeah, like she's
she
like
can fuck off.
Yeah, she just would never fit in with the group and stuff. Like,
Well, I didn't know, obviously, because she speaks English without an accent.
She's Canadian.
Because she's
Not
Canadian.
fucking-
Well, we don't know that at first. The first time we're introduced to that is when Rand finds out she's pregnant. She's like, I'm just going to have her deported. I'm like, deported to fucking where?
right? This is literally a plot point of Parks and Rec. They're like Ron Swanson or like Tom at one point in time. Aziz Ansari is just dating a woman from Canada. I'm like, really, Canada? like they didn't get married. Side note, but yeah, yeah.
I actually have a fun anecdote about that, but I'll save it for later.
The time that Mike dated a Canadian.
Yeah, did you date a Canadian?
No, it was
a Canadian.
A Canadian. I used to work for a company who hired a lot of like
Canadians.
not American labor,
Sure.
and Colorado at the time was passing a bill that required companies to verify citizenship for all of their employees. And we were like, the company was super against this and urged us all to vote against it. But it did end up passing. The only person that we had to cut loose because of this was our receptionist, who was a 60-year-old Canadian woman.
That's really messed up.
I know. It was super sad.
Terrible.
Dumb bitch.
I know. Anyway, but that was happier than this movie. Where the fuck are we? Well, like they're kissing in the cigar humidor. Oh no! So
I think they're at a college party. Yeah.
Yeah. Well.
Yeah.
No. But before this, Keri Russell's trying to fuck Baby Dick,
Whoa.
but he can't get a boner.
No.
Yeah.
No. I think we're still in like the way we departed. Matthew Lillard really selling.
Oh,
you're pregnant. You should tell Rand. Rand's gonna throw you a celebration. Again, I'm gonna backtrack on Matthew Lillard. There are key moments of Matthew Lillard that are also gonna sell me on this movie. That I think Matthew Lillard, oftentimes, and I'm gonna say this as someone we've watched. This is now the third film. I've said, Good Girls. Watch that. You'll see a different side. And I've seen an older version of him too. He still voices Shaggy, which is awesome. Matthew Lillard, but in like mid to late 90s, comes off usually as annoying, over the top, etc. They are using this in this movie. Like, whoever said we should cast Matthew Lillard in this role, I think that was the proper decision.
Oh my god!
So
Mike, I'm going to say, for the first half of this movie, I'm agreeing with your kind of angst, but as this movie unfolds, there's kind of like a genius moment of him being cast in this way.
I completely disagree. I would have rather been pushed off the fucking lighthouse cliff than suffer through Matthew Lillard saying another goddamn word in this movie.
I think we could agree. You mean Setting 3, The Lighthouse?
yeah, that'd probably be easier
Matthew
for this
Lillard-
podcast if we could push you off a cliff.
Could you?
To push Mike off a cliff?
Honestly,
Oh, no.
Paul, if you make me watch another movie like this, I'm quitting the podcast. Like, I'm kind of not even joking. Like, I dedicated 3 hours of
Mike,
my life
I've never seen this movie up until this point in time.
to watching these two movies. Like, I could have been doing so many things. Like, I took a long weekend. I wanted to have a fun time off. And I've dedicated now 7 hours to watching and talking about these two pieces of shit movies. I could be at a bar. I could be going bowling.
Mike,
I could be learning. I could be on fucking Duolingo.
You said you wanted to watch the first one.
I did want to watch the first one.
That is on you. Don't blame that one on me. This one, no one had watched at this point in time.
This is the greatest episode yet.
Like this movie.
So Matthew Lillard has to not just play a fucking narcissistic piece of shit. He has to play a narcissistic piece of shit who's trying to play not a narcissistic piece of shit, and I think he does it perfectly.
Well, also, Collin, overtly, like he's
Yeah.
trying to play a narcissist who's like, "See, I'm such a narcissist, but I don't know I'm a narcissist." But that's the cross at the end. Yes, this movie has a low budget. It's low film stock. It is an early director. But the story, if you literally pay attention start to finish, is assembled. It's all misdirection all the way
disagree
through.
more. The story.
Yeah,
have you seen
Matthew
that episode
Lillard
of Rick and Morty where they're doing like the Ocean's 11 parody where it's all like a never-ending string of double crosses and heists?
Yes.
That is this movie, and it's fucking stupid.
That's just Ocean's 8.
Oh my god. Is that the one with the girls? Oh god.
So now we're at this dorm party. Finally, we're getting to the dorm party. And this is where Matthew Lillard was pushing Natalie, say at the party. It's going to be a huge announcement. It's going to be super fun. So I know, we might not be really into the film, but we've said so much that has led, like the backdrop, what's going to go. Like everything throughout the film, we could just kind of skip through because we were saying, like, clearly heavy-handed spoilers. So Natalie announces at this dorm party, everyone's getting drunk. I'm pregnant. Well, she's arguing with Rand. And then she says, well, you're being a real jerk to me, but I'm pregnant. And Matthew Lillard gives like this psychotic like thumbs up. Like, you should tell him. He's going to love it. This is going to solve the situation. Like, don't worry about it.
The guy that punched her in the forehead when she got a wrong answer, that's definitely the guy you want to tell that you're pregnant to.
Right.
Also, earlier at this party, Matthew Lillard was kind of clowning on a developmentally disabled guy.
Yeah.
And everyone was like, fucking clown on this guy.
I did hate
Oh,
this
yeah,
scene.
that's because this movie sucks and everyone in it is a piece of shit.
There's one. So the one thing that Mike, you have that's defensible about this is there's this character whose name is Jimmy.
Is he the... Like, they introduced this guy for no other reason than for everyone to shit on him.
Yeah, everyone shits on him. Matthew Lillard says, "What's up, Gilbert Grape?"
Yeah.
That's terrible.
Yeah.
Well, and then, like, he like, leads him into hitting on Keri Russell or someone, and then, like, he's like, you offended her, you gotta give me $20. And he's like, okay. And he does, and everyone's like, you shouldn't have done that. God, this whole scene so hard.
It doesn't relate to any other.
No, it was to reinforce how big of a piece of shit everyone in this movie.
Well, specifically Matthew Lillard is.
Yes.
Well, no one came to this kid's defense.
Well, no, I agree with Collin, and this is not put off as strong as it was supposed to be. But Keri Russell is specifically in the room that you, the audience member, are supposed to think she is like, oh my god, what an asshole.
But she's not.
But that's the thing. Like, you don't know where she's at later in the film. But right now, you're like, of course Matthew Lillard's an asshole. Keri Russell thinks this guy is like a no-good scheming asshole. But then how this plays out is Keri Russell may not really think those things. And the audience members are being tricked all along the way. So there's a payoff at the end.
Yeah. Oh, and they're also, at the party, they're doing like a deer hunter thing.
Mm-hmm. With shaking beers.
With shaking beers. Fuck, this was stupid.
That was weird.
I have that in my notes. Like, what kind of stupid fucking game is this?
Oh my god.
My wife and I were watching this, and I was like, I don't really understand why this is like straight up Russian roulette. Because like worst case scenario, which is always the scenario, everyone shook up beers and they're just shaking it at their head. Like, I don't really understand.
Or maybe they had like 12 beers, they shook up one, and you're like, okay, which is the shaken one? You're still fucking holding a beer sideways, opening it, and it's spilling all over you.
Well, that's the thing. Like Jeremy, so if you were playing this like weird, I'm going to make this up, like a Russian roulette drinking game, you shake up one, whoever opens that, then you chug like some like gross, I mean, there's like college level like concoction. You put in 5 liquors. It's the gross shot. Like Or you're like, that's the person drinking a shot, not, all right, now there's beer in your hair? Like, I didn't really understand the game. Like, you're just wasting a bunch of beer.
Yeah, it was terrible.
Yeah, like that.
It was terrible. but so this is where fucking what Rachel?
The public pregnancy statement.
Yeah.
I think Rachel from last movie.
And dude, the best time to announce you're
Emma?
pregnant
Natalie?
is yeah.
No one knows
When
that.
Natalie, Rachel was the
You don't,
previous
because-
film.
Yeah.
But the best time to announce a pregnancy is in a
At a
room
party.
full of drunk people.
Yeah,
Yeah,
sure.
Well,
I mean, why wouldn't you?
She was trying to get him to be like, hey, like, I've got something really important to tell you.
Right. Because she's apparently never met this piece of shit before and thought that would go well.
I mean, they're supposed to be, what, like 19 years old?
Yeah, they're...
I mean, they're trying to get into Harvard graduate program, so I assume they're like 22.
Yeah, I kind of assumed that they were 20 or so.
They're allowed to drink. They're clearly in college. So yeah, 21, 22,
Right, but
23.
like this person who's never been anything other than a huge piece of shit to you, you're going to interrupt him at a party where he's drunk and try to have a meaningful
Well,
conversation.
remember, they were in mid-argument, so she actually used it as like, well, screw you. I was going to tell you differently, but I'm pregnant. Then everyone like shut the hell up. So
Yeah.
it did not pan out the way anyone planned.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, he calls her a small town whore and runs off.
yeah. Where does he run off to? The fucking lighthouse. Because of course he does. It's the only place anyone goes.
Well, it's kind of genius because that is where security guard Ernie is. You want him there. He has no idea what he's talking about. He's going to fumble it with the cops. This is the whole mislead that we go back to the lighthouse. And this is where now Matthew Lillard and so Tim and Chris, they enact their plan.
They're going to get him drunk.
Yeah, we're going to get him drunk. But it turns out that Matthew Lillard is pretending to drink from a bottle that he filled with rat poison and some other kind of alcohol.
But then he fucking tells him.
Well, so they had set up 2 bottles with like lemon juice and Sprite or whatever.
Yeah.
And they had 1 bottle that was supposed to be straight tequila. That they gave Rand, and it wasn't until later that that Tim confessed that he actually put rat poison in the bottle they gave Rand to speed up the process. Because as far as Chris was concerned, they were just trying to get him a little extra drunk,
So that he would like fumble off.
so that he would commit suicide or
Right.
be willing to
Or
die.
like just like stumble off the cliff.
Yeah.
But then he fucking yells at him. He's like, "Hey, bitch, you're drinking rat poison.
Yeah.
Suck my dick."
But
And let me tell you something. The most suicides are from people ingesting just rat poison, you know? I mean, when you
So-
find the body, you do the autopsy, like rat poison, yeah, definite suicide.
I do want to go back for music notes. Bauhaus, Bela Lugosi's dead.
Bauhaus is super good. Yeah.
Yeah, totally gonna take it. Music throughout both School or Die episodes. Loving it.
So, and this whole kind of establishes that Tim is a fucking psychopath, which is super important for the rest of the movie.
Wait. Oh yes, that's him. Sorry, Matthew Lillard. Yes. Yeah. This is a lot of the misdirection in the film. That Matthew Lillard you think is one kind of psycho, but he's kind of another kind of psycho. And I do feel there is a payoff in the end that I'm going to keep saving because I think Mike's going to agree, still hate the film, but at least agree with one small point. Not again that he's going to like the film anymore, but agree with a point. And that point is going to make me like the film. Not that to be contrarian, but like to just be like, oh, this is kind of what sold me a little more on this film. So kind of crazy. But yeah, through a series of events, Matthew Lillard maybe smashes Rand's head with a rock. So Chris doesn't really do anything. I don't want to kill him. Let's back out of this. Tim goes through all of this and pretends to, I'm going to say clearly spoiler, pretends to smash Rand's head, throws him over a cliff, and that's where we're at. That, hey, that was our roommate. They're going to find his body. They're going to think he's drunk. They plant a suicide note in a bottle, which is super weird. And
Yeah, a lot of
that's
people
it.
leave suicide notes in bottles under trees.
What if you're Sting? Mike loves the police and loves Sting.
I kind of felt like this was, their Oceanside. There isn't really a lot. This is, kind of the option is that, you roll up a note, put it in a bottle, throw it into the ocean, and kind of hope that it gets wherever it's meant to be.
Is this like the Japanese suicide forest?
Yeah, exactly.
That's crazy.
I wish I was
Suicide
in
Cliff.
the Japanese suicide forest right now.
Camping out.
Like, whatever demons are in there can take me.
I told Mike on a side note.
There's a movie about that.
There is. And on a very side note,
That movie sucks, but not as much as this.
I have seen where that forest is on 2 different occasions to Japan. And I have jokingly / not jokingly said, that is one of the few places that actually scare the shit out of me. That Japanese suicide forest. I've read about it. I've seen little small documentaries about it. There's a lot of speculation about shifting plates and actually sending off magnetic energy from the earth and various other things. I have noted that if I ever woke up there, that would be my nightmare. I would burn and fight my way out of there. There is a lot of weird stories that come from there. Side note, Japanese suicide forest, not messing around. You have entered Paul into level 2 of hell. I need to get out. Again, kind of not jokingly, super weird stories about that place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would level 3 of hell be this film? Over on repeat?
Yeah, I believe Dante referenced this in the 4th level, where you watch The Curve over and over again. So have they?
Well, basically, we just get a hard cut that there's knocks at the dorm doors,
And they're joking about this the next day.
See, this is kind of the genius feel of Matthew Lillard. That where is he coming from? All throughout this movie, I'm he is over the top. He's being antagonistic. Why is he saying as much as he's saying? Even if he's gonna double cross Chris, which he does, he's saying such bizarre stuff. I don't know where he's coming from. That's kind of the mystery, and that for me, Jeremy, that is what caught my interest. Where is this guy coming from? I don't know his angle.
Yeah. So.
And then you're at the Chancellor, the pipe-smoking Chancellor. That's the next scene.
Yeah, we've got the pipe-smoking Dean, and next to him is the fucking psychiatrist who's eating a goddamn Twizzler.
Yeah, she's going down on that Twizzler, man.
I don't know. She has a couple, and I'm on her side.
Oh, yeah. I know all throughout this film. Twizzlers. I told that to Mike.
Yeah.
By the way, one of the gripes I have with this movie is that unless, at the very beginning, they're yeah, we're in college. But unless they told you that, you would have no idea these people are in college. There are no classes. They're not. They never study.
Nope.
And the desks of this chancellor, if you've ever been into a college professor's office, there is papers fucking everywhere. This is the cleanest desk of any desk in modern human history.
Especially
man.
1998. I was gonna say everything's digital now.
There's
Jeremy,
a phone on it and a lamp, and that is it.
Well, he's not a teacher. He's a chancellor, so he's more like a dean than a professor.
Yeah, I mean maybe because I went to a shitty school, but I think my dean had a card table and some post-it notes on.
Yeah,
He had a 3-card Monty
tip
table.
jar.
Yeah, right.
You went to a hobo tent version of college.
I did, yeah.
Yeah. If you went to a real school, there would be a IKEA desk and
at least IKEA, yeah.
children or something. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, he's got West Elm or something nice in there.
Sure.
Yeah.
And going back to music, I get note Amy Mann. If you do not know Amy Mann, voices Keri. Come on, are you kidding me? Till Tuesday. Come on, Amy Mann.
I know that one song.
Well,
she's the girl who cut her toe off in The Big Lebowski.
That is correct.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah, there's some fun music. It's weirdly timed, so I know Mike. I think we've won Mike a little more on the music.
No,
front.
you haven't. This movie sucks.
On the music front, not the movie, just the music.
I couldn't handle it.
Oh my god, Amy Mann, Bauhaus.
Okay,
Come on.
let's just get through this.
I have that where maybe at a bar after the Chancellor.
Okay, so
Yes.
yeah, so okay, they fuck. They establish that Rand they believe he's killed himself. No one's found the body, but they found the note, blah, blah, blah. They're telling
wait, I don't want to cut my mic off. I want to keep this going. But a spoiler is, because they have not found Rand's body, they are not actually guaranteed the 4.0. Like, they have to make sure there's a body, even though he's been missing.
The fact that they're discussing this is insane, though.
But Mike, keep going with that summary. But like, that is a pivotal plot point all throughout.
Right. But I mean, they're kind of presenting it to Lily and Limp Dick as though it's like going to happen. Mm-hmm. And Matthew Lillard's like, "Oh, how dare you display these levels of insecurities to me while my friend is being dead? Should I not?" It's this whole scene made me want to fucking cry. Like, he's like, "Oh, why would you even do this?" Like, he's hamming it up real bad, and Limp Dick's like, "Okay, I guess, I don't know, like, our friend's dead, that sucks."
Well, so then it is posited you're going to get a 4.0.
Right. But Lillard is like, "I shouldn't take it, oh."
Right, so
where's
like...
the fainting couch?
Well, that's the thing, like, that's the misdirection, and that's kind of the fun for me, where it's... Chris is like, "What the hell are you talking about?" Like, that is clearly the glance he's giving him. Like,
but then also, Lily starts throwing him under the bus, and like, as they're recreating the night of the suicide, he's manufacturing things that have not happened.
Which is interesting to me.
Was it? Because it sucked for me.
Well, for me, I was like, why are you saying these things? And even...
we knew why he was saying them, because he's a dick, and he's trying to throw him under the bus.
Sort of.
Yeah, so...
Oh my God.
We're talking about, like when the police are interviewing them? Like, so when the police are interviewing the Chris and Tim, Tim is throwing Chris under the bus. Absolutely.
Oh yeah, the detectives show up to the dorm, and Lily is like,
"These detectives, man."
I do like the detectives. There's like regular detective, and there's a detective who's
cigar.
Like cigar
man.
He's dressed like fucking Glenn Ross. He's wearing like the blue dress shirt with the white collars and cuffs. Like he's closing for coffee. I don't know what the fuck.
Okay, Mike.
He's my spirit animal.
Yeah, Mike. Your spirit animal. Mike. I'm glad we're at least discussing this, because if you're like, my resignation to this podcast is this film, I'm glad at least it's not, because Cigar Detective so much doesn't give a shit. I'm so glad, like, even if you think a movie's shitty, you're like, I love Cigar Detective.
Cigar Detective was okay.
Yeah, because that guy is smoking
he's just
a cigar.
Poking around the apartment. He's I'm just going to look around.
I was totally going to say, even in my notes, I'm like, that dude just doesn't give a shit. Like, he was looking from a baby in a coffee shop. That dude is pulling out just full-on stogies at any given point.
I will say, this is jumping ahead a little bit, but I'll give you a little treat, since we're talking about the one thing about this movie that I didn't hate. Later on in the movie, this detective is talking to the dean, the pipe-smoking guy, and the dean is actively smoking a pipe. And the detective is like, "Hey, do you mind if I smoke this cigar?" And while the dean is smoking a pipe, he's like, "I'd rather you didn't." That got a chuckle out of it.
That's funny.
But that was it. That was the only part of this movie I enjoyed.
Well, thank God for that. Yeah. Cigars. Oh my God. Cigar smoking detective is so nonchalant about, I'm just going to pluck this out of my trench coat. I'm going to light a match. Can you imagine in 2000 anything? Someone just pulling out a stogie and lighting it in your house. In your house.
We brought one for me.
Oh my God.
I brought one for you?
No, if someone brought one for me, they could smoke in my house.
Your girlfriend would be super stoked about that happening.
She'd be fine.
By the way,
did they bring one for her?
We have, I think we skipped over the fucking Natalie death scene, by the way.
No, we did. We skipped over a lot.
She's good and dead.
Oh, yeah. So she gets all sad in the pants and jumps off. The same cliff as fucking We Think
And she takes her suitcase with her. She's
like Mary fucking Poppins. She jumps off the goddamn cliff with a suitcase.
The most important thing about this movie is that there's one cliff. And,
it's the only cliff in town.
And no
There's just
one
a stack of fucking skeletons at the bottom.
No one fucking thought to just put caution tape up.
Or like maybe give fucking security guard nunchuck guy a couple extra overtime hours. Be
You know
like,
what?
hey, you want to hang up by the fucking lighthouse for a
Fuck
second?
this guy. Fuck that guy. Tape does his job way better than he does.
Well,
and they didn't
yeah.
do it.
Collin, let's admit, if someone pulled out some nunchucks, I would probably step back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
So
that's
this is-
a Lisa Good intimidation moment. Like someone literally pulled out nunchucks, and you might think, I might need to reassess this situation.
Well,
I've
and this is
never
the second
reassessed
death off this
nunchuck
cliff
situations, but I
in 2
would.
days. In 2 days, this 2 people have died on this cliff.
Okay,
and
going back,
nobody
as
gives
I
a
said,
fuck.
Natalie totally gets screwed over. This is like a truly tragic character. This is crap. Like, this is affluency. This is connectivity. This is daddy's got connections, and I am willing to discard. Even at the end of the movie, they're asked about her, and everyone's like, yeah, she kind of got,
Well,
like, the shit out
Was
of
the
this
plan for her to kill herself?
No,
was that
I do
part
not
of the
think so.
plan?
I think that was extra.
Yeah.
I'm going to give you a hot
And-
take here.
Oh my god.
Natalie, all of her problems are because of Natalie.
All of whose
and Emma.
problems?
Well, yeah.
Well, no, okay, sure, because of Emma. Like, do you think the first time Rand was a dick to Natalie was when we saw it? No. Natalie is attaching herself to Rand because he has money.
No,
Everything that Natalie is doing, Natalie has all the signs. Like, he has been hitting her and being a shithead to her their entire relationship, and she is hanging on to it
Well-
because she's a fucking moron.
Mike,
And that is her fault.
It was noted that Natalie, due to her Christian beliefs, would never have an abortion. And because she was pregnant, this was the only option. Like, she did not know what
But
else
even do you think he was really awesome to her before
Oh,
the pregnancy?
God, no,
no, of course
no.
not. So she has been dating a huge douchebag this entire time, and she has been complicit in this.
Well, I think she just thinks she's up shit creek.
She did this to herself.
Well, I don't think she got pregnant by herself.
Well, she did not get
wow.
pregnant by herself, but like, she's fucking this douchebag. That is voluntary.
Colin's looking down.
Yeah.
Down.
You look down.
He looked-
I'm less comfortable now. Than
This
I
is
was before.
both of their faults. Like okay, if we're all normal people here, would you date someone like Rand?
God, no.
I mean,
No,
there
of
are-
course
Rand
not.
sucks.
And you know why? Because you're not a fucking moron.
but Rand is
but
half
Natalie-
my age in this film.
If,
no,
if,
but it
if
doesn't-
Rand knocked me up,
But-
would I
but-
have his baby?
He didn't knock her up on date 1. They've been dating for a while.
3 months?
3
That's
months.
fucking nothing.
It's enough. It's enough for Natalie to be like, you know what? You're a big piece of shit. I'm gonna get the fuck out of here. Why is she with him for 3 months?
I'm not
Why did
comfortable.
she make it past minute
With how
3
far-
with this guy?
Mike,
Are
the-
we
this is
15 minutes into this podcast?
no.
We've been talking about this hour and a half movie for an hour and 20 minutes.
Mike,
and we are 30 minutes
Mike,
into this
Can
movie.
we kill Rand yet?
This person.
No, Rand's dead now.
Oh, yeah.
Can we kill him, please?
This. Yeah. Now,
My point is,
I'm
everyone
pregnant.
sucks.
Why am
Everyone
I
is making
pregnant?
bad decisions.
This person is 21 years or 22 years old in age. Like,
Who cares?
well, they're
I
inexperienced.
had a fucking job when I was 21.
I'm
I was
huffing
making
a
choices.
Rand.
Well,
I'm
Mike,
huffing a
Don't
Rand
be a
baby.
fucking dick.
Mike, no one on this podcast has like a trust fund. Like, who are you talking to? Like,
I'm just saying, like,
Why am I
we're trying to
pregnant?
defend someone who's apparently been making very bad choices for 3 months.
I am telling you, it is Natalie who's like, I just thought I was going to school. I'm now pregnant. This dude just shunned me. I am now freaking out. Like, no one.
I'm just saying, she probably sat through a lot of shit to get to this point.
We all agree with you.
Right, but that's my point. Like, Natalie should have bailed month 1.
She is 21 years.
What, is she a fucking moron?
I'm
Well,
pregnant.
Well,
she's
yeah, I
an
mean, yes, she
inexperienced
is.
21-year-old.
Well, she should have figured that shit out. She's
Well,
from Canada. I thought they were smarter than
Well,
us.
she loves maple.
Is that what it is?
My whole thing
She
with
had
this,
socialized healthcare, so she thought it would be cool, I guess.
my whole thing with this though is Natalie wasn't planned, and she is actually a true life, like an accidental death in the plan that's gonna unfold.
She is.
But what? Like nobody even. They're just like they don't even talk about it.
They
They're
do,
not, they're
Jeremy.
just like,
At the
fuck it.
very end, they talk about, even with the psychiatrist, like, what about with Natalie? They're like, that was unfortunate. Like, all of that.
They did say that was unfortunate.
Natalie is a
talking about
whoopsie
it?
daisy.
Yeah.
They picked a whole bouquet of whoopsie daisies.
That's why I said earlier. Like, she is truly the only tragedy of this film. Where this person's like, I'm from Canada. Cool, I'm dating this dude. He's kind of a dick to me. Yeah, we all agree. Well, I got pregnant. I'm not really for this. Yeah, this guy basically said I should kill myself. Cool, I jump off a cliff. Like, that is Natalie's start to finish. She is the most likable and understandable.
Oh, I
But
disagree.
then it's like you said, Paul. It's referenced later where they're like, "That's unfortunate." Other than that statement, though, like Natalie serves fucking no purpose to this movie whatsoever.
Well, I mean, she was the planted sadness that made everyone think Rand killed himself in the beginning.
Well, where are we in this film?
Nobody fucking knows.
No, we're in the now. Okay, Natalie's killed herself. We're in the apartment with the detectives.
Okay,
the detectives are smoking. Matthew tries to pin it on Chris because he's talking to the detectives, and Chris is like, "What the fuck is going on here?"
Yeah. Okay. So we know the pregnant girl jumped off the cliff, and this has now been established because they find her body. Well, we still haven't found Rand's body, but they found her body. So the whole
and we find out she wasn't pregnant.
Yeah.
Later,
we do later find out she wasn't pregnant,
which is all part of Emma's kind of secret plan,
right? But we have Limp Dick talking to Keri Russell, and he's saying some of the dumbest shit ever because they're talking about this 4.0 thing because he's like, they offered me the 4.0, like now your roommate's dead. Are you going to take the 4.0?
Wait.
There's a lot of this 4.0 talk.
Sorry, with the setting here, this is also like that coffee house, right? Like this is where they're talking.
No, they're walking. They're like walking when they're talking about this.
Well, there's a moment where they go to the coffee shop, right? Like together. And the psychologist is sitting like adjacent to them.
So she overheard Matthew Lillard talking to Keri Russell earlier.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he was explaining that he thought Limp Dick was planning the whole thing. Whatever. He couldn't get it up to bang Keri Russell. He's going to be Limp Dick for me.
Wow.
Because he had too much on his mind to have an erection.
There is a moment where the Smith's girlfriend in a coma plays.
And they comment on it. The great song.
It is a great song.
Let me ask you this though, so Michael and Keri Russell, they're walking, talking about the 4.0 thing.
Tim? Who? Chris?
Tim. Yeah, Tim. The
Lillard?
Limp Dick.
Chris.
Limp Dick and Emma are walking. They're talking by themselves. There's nobody around them.
Mm-hmm.
They're supposedly, and I'm giving shit away here. They're supposedly like they're in on this whole thing, if I'm not mistaken.
But
like
neither of them know the other is in on it.
Yeah, I don't understand that.
No.
It's because the plot of this movie
dude.
sucks.
You were talking about Matthew Lillard and
No.
Limp Dick and Keri Russell.
Dick and Emma,
Chris.
they're talking.
Yeah.
They're having a nice little
you are correct.
They're both in on it, but the other, they don't know that the others are in on it.
Here's the thing. That's one of the reasons I like this.
No.
Keri Russell
God damn it.
is in one direction and Chris is in another
She's
direction.
in one direction?
Not the band.
Okay.
And Chris is in another direction and they're both doing nefarious things separately. They're not together.
No, she breaks up with him.
Okay.
Correct.
Yeah. So she breaks up with him, and but later Matthew Lillard is like, "Hey, that sucks that you guys broke up. You should get back together, and you should do it by like lighting candles in your apartment." And Limp Dick's like, "Yeah." I should definitely do this.
Get her favorite flowers. Mm-hmm. I'll jump in.
Yeah, like I'll take her out. I'll distract her while you set this all up. I'll take her out for some drinks, get her loose and conversational, and then I'll bring her back to you. And he does, but he gets her fucking wasted. And then they go back to her apartment that is covered in candles. And she immediately,
like
Keri Russell immediately gets down on that D.
She goes down on it, man.
Right away.
Oh my God.
There's no conversation. She's just like, we're here sucking that D right now. And Limp Dick is in the fucking closet for some reason that is never explained.
Well, part of the twist was he was supposed to pop out and say, like, oh, like I planned this.
Right.
But Matthew Lillard makes weird, super eye contact.
Oh, yeah. He's like, hey, I'm in your girlfriend. Look into my eyes.
Right. But
this is the most fucked up scene of the whole movie.
Oh my God.
but part of the twist is Matthew Lillard is like, see, Keri Russell is on my side, and she is like that. She is through the rest of the film on his side, and Chris jumps out of the closet. He's like, I'm done with this. Screw this. She's like, what? Later, she says, I broke up with you. Like, whatever. I was feeling vulnerable. I was lonely. Like, I'm so sorry. She says numerous times, I messed all of this up.
Right. She's like, I made a mistake. And he's like, his response was, a mistake? You had my roommate's dick in your mouth.
And
then her response was,
try not to suck any dick on the way out to the
it's not like we had sex. Because everyone here is an idiot.
Right. Well, I mean, I kind of agree with your view on this at this point. But saying that, she is deep in the Natalie was my roommate. I'm also getting a 4.0. Mm-hmm. We realized this like soon after. So with Matthew Lillard setting all this up, Chris is like, I don't know what to think. Like, you are screwing me, you have set me up, etc. And that all comes to pass at the very end of this film, which I'm going to argue is this. Mm-hmm. The biggest setup of this film is we do not know who is, how do I want to phrase this? Not good, but like the less of the evils. We want to get a 4.0. We set our friends up. People are going to commit suicide, but we do not know where Matthew Lillard stays or Chris, the actor that stays, or plays. We do not know where they're coming at. They then say, we try to get a 4.0. Matthew Lillard set us all up. Sort of. They go back to the lighthouse, right? Sorry,
they're always at the fucking lighthouse.
They go back to the lighthouse. And Matthew Lillard, like, basically just highlights everything I just said. Like, whose side am I on?
Well,
what's going on?
We skipped over a couple.
Oh, sorry.
I hate to say consequential scenes. We have the Limp Dick and Matthew Lillard in the dorm room with Matthew Lillard with the gun scene.
Yeah.
Where Matthew Lillard confesses to everything.
I totally forgot about
and
that.
Limp Dick tapes it.
Yes.
Yeah. Which leads to nothing. And then we have Limp Dick getting arrested by the security guard and the two cops.
Sort of.
Kind of.
Well, yes. As Mike is noting, there are the twists. That we have Matthew Lillard confessing. Keri Russell is a big part of this, clearly. Everything is going according to plan, according to Chris. But then, at the very end, we go back to the lighthouse. The lighthouse, the whole confessional scene is this. Rand is not dead. Rand just summons up.
This last scene fucking sucked.
What do you think here, Collin?
Yeah, it was the twist that mattered.
Oh, it was like twist after twist after it's like,
but I kind of liked
but
it.
But then this.
Here is my big sell for this movie. Again, you got to think. I don't give a shit what anyone thinks like in this room because I see everyone looking at me, stretching backwards, being like, "Fuck this." It is what is going on? Why did they do any of this?
Explain this to me because I'm still fucking foggy on it.
Okay, so what is the reveal? So the biggest thing is Matthew Lillard is like, hey, from all along, we plotted that you, Chris, we would kill you. You are the weakest. You don't come from a well-to-do family. This is what's going on.
And Rand is showed back up now,
Rand
correct?
is here now.
Yeah,
because
he's
he was
back
in
in.
fucking
Okay.
Cabo
Yeah.
for the weekend
Right.
or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, he
So-
was in Cabo, which is a better place in this movie.
Sort of. So, like, maybe Rand was in Cabo, but Rand is highlighting, yeah, I might have been in these places, but here's the biggest thing. Yeah, Chris, we're going to kill you. We wanted to get a 4.0. Matthew Lillard is saying, like, we set you up all along. You're the weakest link. Blah, blah,
And
blah.
Keri Russell's in on this too, because she's like, yeah, fuck
Sort
you,
of.
Chris.
So that's
Carrie-
oh my god.
Keri Russell is only in with Matthew Lillard. She is... Keri Russell, I feel, turns out to be the worst.
Well,
Like,
so Limp Dick shows up to the lighthouse and he's like, "Hey, Keri Russell, I have the tape of Matthew Lillard confessing to this." She's like, "Oh, do you?
She
maybe,
takes it.
Maybe you should give it to me. Now that I have it, oh, haha. Like, I'm in on this too. I'm with Matthew Lillard. Oh, who's this? It's Rand." And then they're all like, "Oh, you're a rich or you're a poor piece of shit. We're all rich. So we're going to get you to die."
well, the first twist is Rand is like, I'm going to kill you, Chris.
Yeah.
I'm going to kill you. We've planned this. And Matthew Lillard said that all along.
Right.
Like, you were the weakest link. We planned this all. Like, you thought we were friends. Ha, ha, ha. You're super dumb.
Right.
Now,
But then
the twist is Chris is like, oh, you think I'm the dumb one? We planned this all along on you. And that is what I think is
But not
actually,
we. If like just him and Rand, Keri Russell still has
Yes,
no idea.
yes,
She's like,
Keri
oh my
Russell
god,
doesn't
what
know,
the
yeah.
fuck?
Yeah, so
Okay.
So side note, so Rand and Chris planned this all along. So I love one of the twists is, oh, Matthew Lillard, you're an asshole. We all agreed. Like, the whole plot of the movie was, you thought Matthew Lillard was the star of this? You thought his, like, typecast acting was, like what was going to sell you on this? Kind of, but it was so misdirection that it was, hey, Matthew Lillard is so over the top. We also thought he was an asshole. We, the cast, thought he was an asshole. We're going to kill him, and they throw him right off the cliff. And yes, Jeremy, I agree. The twist for me that, like, didn't really take, and my wife was like, oh yeah, I was like, where does Keri Russell fall in all of this? She
cares?
Well, she only followed Lillard, and they gave her a choice at the end. Here's the deal. You could die and we will throw you off the cliff, or you're a part of this. And at the very end, the narration is Keri Russell took the deal. Natalie, her roommate, killed herself. She was offered a 4.0. And then at the very end, they're like, shoot, Rand, it was like...
And nobody thinks this is weird?
Well, Rand was like, well, that's crazy. Like, I don't really need to take the deal.
Yeah, it is crazy.
And that's where they apologize to Chris. They're like, oh, we thought your friend was really in need. And he's like, I told you the whole time. And that's where the psychologist is like, I thought that was a ploy to just say it was you. Like, Twizzler eating psychologist.
Well, she's back to smoking at the end. Yeah, she's giving up the Twizzlers.
Yeah, her life, like, her whole psychological makeup is shattered.
Probably
Like,
because she knows she lives in a world of
Yes!
human shit.
Yes!
And she's like, I'm just going to smoke.
well, here's where we're at. A really quick final synopsis. As always, reach out to us, rabbittroopsuckspodcast@gmail.com, and reach out to us. If you have a Halloween movie, I'm going to send you a shot glass or a sticker or two. Let us know. But rabbittroopsucks.com, or hit us up on Instagram or Facebook. Our last synopsis of this movie, I think, to end it all. The power went out. This night is cursed. We've done 2 movies. Mike hates this film. Jeremy is not super down with this film. Collin is falling asleep and is kind of okay with this
Colin's
film.
going bye-bye.
I will take Collin as my only ally that I like this film in the idea that it is immature. It is the first movie of a director. I like the mystery unfold. Collin, thanks for helping me on all this. Clearly, we're not going to change any minds. The next movie is 1985's The Stuff. It is one stone throws away of getting us to Halloween. So, October, Halloween. Okay, we'll see you there. Mike, thanks for always sticking along for, even if you hate this film.
I'm quitting this podcast.
There are a couple things that you do like. As always, drive home safely. Don't let your power go out. School or die. We'll get to some other things next week. The Stuff, well...
This is going to be like a jar of fluff.
Oh my god.
Yeah, there it is. That's the fluff.
As always, Rabbit Troop sucks.
Yeah, Rabbit Troop sucks.